So why were there no takers? Some of the reasons could be that no teacher training institutions in these 8 countries actually committed to using the resources. It was the ministries who made the commitments and individuals, but the institutions stayed out of that loop. The second was there was no clear strategy for implementation. The third is that there was a general apprehension, and this continues in many participating countries, about using materials not made here. The materials were then considered too generic to be integrated into courses already on offer, and there was a general lack of awareness that what can this do for us, about what are the benefits of OERs. Are we going to get out of a job if we start using materials already prepared, and so on. So the key lesson from this experience is not only to develop capacity and content, but to ensure buy-in from local partners and to have a clear implementation strategy, which was not there in that particular instance. This approach has been subsequently taken up by other OER projects in Africa, notably the Teacher Education in Sub-Saharan Africa Consortium, led by the Open University of UK. TESA's OER development strategy required partner institutions to be identified even before the design stages of the project, and that these partners were required to develop the OERs according to their own needs and priorities. So this was a kind of participatory approach. The use of OER was not simply assumed, but made an integral part of the project design from the very outset. The second OER initiative which CALL supported was the development of the Commonwealth Computer Navigator Certificate, an open information technology literacy course modeled on the International Computer Driver's License, which many of you may know of. CALL invited volunteers to join the consortium that would develop the CCNC materials. And people came very happily from IGNO in India, the University of Western Cape in South Africa, the Open Polytechnic of New Zealand, University of West Indies, Trinidad and Tobago, Memorial University of Newfoundland in Canada, and Penn State University World Campus in the US. It was envisaged that this course material would be piloted during 2008. However, despite the energy and enthusiasm of the community, the modules could not be completed as scheduled, and a course author had to be commissioned to complete the course in 2009. So what caused the delays and brought the project back to a more traditional course development mode? Was the community of volunteers overtaken by their more pressing day jobs? Or were the structure and timelines too loose? The key lesson from this experience is that in spite of the strength of the community to self-organize, there was a need to put in place a governance structure that would steer the project and monitor progress against agreed upon quality standards, because the quality of the various contributions from different institutions was very uneven. Let us now look at the third and final CALL OER initiative, the Virtual University for Small States of the Commonwealth. This has drawn lessons from the earlier experiences and begun by building a very strong stakeholder base. This is a consortium of 32 small states of the Commonwealth which have come together to first develop capacity in online course development, and to then develop courses that are need-based for them, and they look at courses like stevedoring, disaster management, fisheries, tourism, and nursing, and so on. It is a network that seeks to strengthen national tertiary institutions in the participating countries and focuses on capacity building, the design and delivery of new courses, and the creation of a mechanism for regional accreditation of courses based on a transnational qualifications framework through which students can gain mobility between different jurisdictions. This is actually critical to have a transnational qualifications framework for both mobility and quality assurance. What makes the WUSC important is that it is demand-driven, and courses focus not only content creation, but on strategies for institutionalization, which include a strong multi-stakeholder governance structure. And the slide that you see this is a recent thing which happened last month in the Maldives. Participants from 19 small states in the Commonwealth came together, they searched the web for free resources and developed a whole course in 3 weeks on sustainable agriculture for small states. So I think the potential is huge. Of course, that was only the first draft. It has to go through several quality assurance mechanisms, but right now, at least the basic material was developed, about 120 study hours. So the lesson from this is that a bottom-up participatory approach is very important for the success of OERs, but it requires much longer time frames. So the core approach to OER is now much more holistic and process-oriented. One of the most important challenges facing the OER movement is how to ensure sustainability. What is meant by sustainability? Although sustainability is often conceptualized as a matter relating to money or financial resources, there is an emerging and more comprehensive model that emphasizes not just funding, but other dimensions as well. For example, Wiley defines sustainability as the ability of a project to continue its operations and the project's ongoing ability to meet its goals. He identifies 2 types of sustainability: how to sustain the development and sharing of the OER and their continued use. The main problem with most OER is that planning for sustainability is often an afterthought, usually when the project nears its end or as an add-on to the project's main activities. Guthrie et al. Identified the following key factors. Sustainability plans should include the provision of resources for future growth. A project's value depends on its impact on the target group, what benefits flow from it, how it adequately addresses their needs, and what difference it has made. Scaling up will require building up partnerships and collaborations. And strategic planning is extremely important given the competitive nature in which OER, or the competitive environment in which OER projects operate. And finally, projects must demonstrate a high degree of accountability and transparency to their funders and during project implementation. But putting these elements in place is not enough. This is only one part of the story. The problem is that many OER projects are product rather than process-oriented. We argue here that a process-oriented approach is needed to make OERs much more sustainable. While there are arguments that OER are not mere technology, the substantive discourse has not moved beyond the technology domain. Breck raises the following questions. That is OER just another pedagogical theory for learning experts to debate, or another techie thing to come along for educators to play with? And then she concludes by saying OERs is an action, please note the word, that will cause education to move to a new place. The action which Breck talks about is social action, which could involve skills of collaboration and the ethics of new knowledge among the various stakeholders. By shifting the discussion to the social and ethical domain from a purely technological angle, the base of those who can participate in the OER initiatives is being broadened, and this has special implications for the developing world, especially those on the wrong side of the digital divide.